Now, as I was saying that DNA methylation, that is hypomethylation, if the DNA is not methylated, histone acetylation and the chromatin remodeling complex together, they bring an open chromatin state of the genome and activation of the transcriptional activity. However, if the DNA becomes methylated, followed by, as you can see, methylations of the histone and chromatin compacting and a special type of chromatin modular, the HP1, the chromatin gets compacted and we get a condensed form. So when we talk about epigenetic modification, it is a mixture of histone acetylation or methylation. DNA methylation or hypomethylation and the presence of chromatin remodeling complexes that together make a epigenetic modification. As I was talking about this graph earlier, where I had said that initially during the process of gametogenesis, in the sperms and the eggs, the parental imprints are erased. And after the parental imprints are erased, during the process of gametogenesis, fresh imprints are marked upon. And after fertilization, again, as you can see, there's a demethylation event. So again, the imprints are erased. And once the zygote reaches the blastocyst stage, where the inner cell mass becomes pluripotent, you can see that methylation is again occurring and the imprints are re-established. This is the timeline of discovery in the field of DNA methylation. So you can see that it was during the time of 1962 to 1977 that all the histone modifications were discovered. DNA methylation was discovered. Then came the discovery of the enzymes or the writers. We have the DNA methyltransferase 1 and the histone acetyltransferase and the histone deacetylase. So these were discovered around 1996, 1997. Then came the discovery of the methyl cytosine binding proteins. Around 1998, 1999, 2000, discovery of histone demethylase. So the discovery of the eraser complex. And then the discovery of another important enzyme, the 1011 translocation methyl cytosine deoxygenase. So this is also a DNA demethylation enzyme around 2029 and 2011. And then we all know that in 2010, the mapping of the genome for the genome-wide DNA methylation in diseases were done, followed by the progress in the ENCODE project. So this is a timeline of the discoveries that took place in the field of DNA methylation. And now coming to DNA methylation. Now, DNA methylation, and now coming to methylation. So we have the 4 bases A, T, G, C. The cytosine is methylated, and as you can see in this picture, you can see that the methyl group is added to carbon 5 of cytosine is 5-methyl cytosine. And if you look into the pairing structure of C and G, once the methyl transferase adds a cytosine molecule to, a methyl molecule to the 5 carbon of the cytosine, there is no problem in the base pairing of cytosine and guanine. So the methylation does not at all interfere with the base pairing of the cytosine and guanine. Now this is another picture which I wanted to show you. If you look into the above picture, there are 2 categories of methylation. One category is the maintenance methylation and one category is the de novo methylation. Maintenance methylation, as you can get by the name, is maintaining the methylation imprints that was originally found in the mother DNA. So for example, this is generation 1 DNA, having a methylation imprint at this C and this C. During DNA replication, when the two mother strands separate and act as templates, we are getting the daughter strands which are not yet methylated. So this is a hemimethylated condition. It is in this hemimethylated condition that the maintenance methylase enzyme comes and methylates the C. You can see they methylate the C that was the imprint of which was already, I mean, the information of the imprint which was already present in the mother element. So this is an example of maintenance methylation. Just give me just a second. So you can see, so this is the C and this was methylated. Based on the imprint of the template strand, the methylation is being done on the daughter strand. So this is an example of maintenance methylation. But when we talk about de novo methylation, you have to assume that it is an unmethylated or a hypomethylated area, and de novo methylation. So this enzyme actually adds methyl group to the cytosine molecules. So there was no previous imprint of any methylation out here. So here we get an example of de novo methylation. So the unmethylated areas are now methylated and they go for replication, and these are the hemimethylated strands, and based on the imprints observed in the previous replication cycle or in the mother, we get the methylation patterns in the daughter. So there are two categories of basic categories of methylation: the de novo, where the methylation is done to those areas which were not previously methylated or there was no information of the previous methylation, and the maintenance methylation, where there is an information of the previous methylation, and based on that information the daughters are methylated. Now there is another term which comes becomes very important later on, is that maintenance methylation and passive dilution. Maintenance methylation, just now as I said, depending on the methylation patterns found on the mother template, the daughters are accordingly methylated. But it so happens that during the process of gametogenesis and in females, it has been observed that the template is methylated, but the daughters are not methylated. So if the second generation DNA is not methylated, if this is the first generation DNA, and we are getting a daughter copy of the first generation DNA, this daughter strand is not methylated. Now this hypomethylated or unmethylated daughter strand will next act as a template for the next generation DNA. So as you can see, since there is no methylase enzyme, or since there is no methylation done to the daughter, in course of time, the methylation imprint will be lost. So this is the mechanism of passive dilution. Now coming to the enzymes or the writers for DNA methylation. Sorry. So if you look into the enzymes, just a second. If you look into the enzymes, so these are basically the major enzymes that are responsible for the methylations. And if you look into the catalytic domain of DNMT1, 2, 3, 3 has two members, 3A and 3B. You will be seeing that there are some conserved motifs. So if you look into the conserved areas from 1 to 10, you are having 1, 4, 6, 9 and 10. So these are conserved motifs, and these are conserved in all cytosine methyl transferases. But if we look into the amino terminal region of these enzymes, we find that there is very little similarity between the amino terminal ends. And in this particular slide, I've also given the function of the different methyl transferases. For example, DNMT1, you can see this is associated with maintenance methyl transferases. I clarified in my earlier slide what is maintenance methylation. And if you look into these two methylases, DNMT3A and DNMT3B, this helps in de novo methylation of cytosine. So these are de novo methyltransferases. So these are the enzymes, as I said. And next we move on to the CpG islands. Now coming to the CpG islands, now what are these? It has been seen that DNA across the genome of mammalian somatic tissue is methylated at 70 to 80% of all CpG sites. Now, in the CpG sites, what it is seen that the CG dinucleotide is present, and the P signifies as the phosphodiester bond between the CG dinucleotide. Most sequences are methylated according to their frequency of the CG dinucleotide. So the more we have this CG dinucleotide, it seems that the methylation frequency is dependent. Now these CG dinucleotides are at times found in areas having around about length of 200 base pair to 2000 base pair. So there may be a stretch of CG islands of a length of 200 base pair to 2000 base pair. So when we have this CG nucleotide residing for a length of 200 to 2000 base pair, they are known as CG islands, and thus the name CGI. In most cases, it has also been observed that the CG islands are associated with the promoter elements of a gene. In many cases, it has been seen that the CG islands are associated with the promoter elements of the genes. That is, they mark the 5' region of genes. In fact, approximately 60% of human genes have CGI promoter. Now, since CG islands are present in the promoter region, so you can assume that they are normally unmethylated. And there are multiple ways to protect these CGIs from de novo methylases such as DNMT3A and DNMT3B. In fact, very recently, not very recently, I not say very recently, there two proteins have been discovered having a DNA binding domain which is known as CXXC. So this is the DNA binding domain of those two proteins. The proteins are CFP1 and KDM2A1, which are specifically able to bind to unmethylated CG within the CGI islands. So as we can see that from the name, the CGI islands, that in these islands the methylation is prevented. To summarize what we learned, that they are also known as HTF islands because they usually contains CG islands are also known as HTF islands because they usually contain a cluster of restriction sites for 5-methyl cytosine sensitive restriction endonuclease HPA1. Okay. In normal methylated DNA, HPA1 cannot cut its target sites. But if the methylation is depleted, if the methylation is modified, then there is a chance that the CGI islands can be cut by the restriction enzyme. Now coming to summarize this slide. So as I said, the CG islands are nothing but the CG dinucleotides present for a stretch of around 200 base pair to 2000 base pair. Now, as I said, there are 50,000 CG islands exist in the human genome, and you can see half are associated with housekeeping genes. So I said that they are found in the promoter elements of a lot of genes. Basically, the islands are kept in a hypomethylated condition. That is, they are not methylated, so that they are accessed by the various regulatory elements. And you can see, so this is the exact in there. This side, this is an example of a maintenance methylation shown here. So this was about the CGI islands, but the CGI islands have a special importance. So this is another picture of the CGI island. This is a CGI island sitting in a promoter region, you can see. And this is actually the CG island. And upstream of the CG island, you can see the DNA has been, the segments has been divided into two regions, the shore and the shelf. Shores are genomes that resides 2000 base pairs from the CGI, while the shelves are the region that resides 2000 to 4000 base pairs away from the CGI. And you look here, the CGI is not methylated. So in that case, it is evident that the promoter elements can bind to the CGI islands. If the CGI islands get methylated, or then the promoter elements, I mean to say in the promoter region, then the transcriptional elements cannot, transcription elements that binds to the promoter cannot sit in this methylated enzymes. I mean to say in this, cannot sit in this methylated portions. And I was talking about two important proteins which are seen, CFP1 and KDM, and they have this common CXXC motif by which they are able to bind to unmethylated CGI islands, thereby preventing methylation of these regions. So this is one of the discoveries. This is an example of the Hox gene where the where it was actually shown that how these proteins bind to these regions and prevent the methylation of the CGI groups. Now coming to DNA demethylation. So just as we saw that DNA can be methylated by addition of methylation to the 5th carbon of cytosine, similarly, the methylation can be removed. And it is a stepwise procedure of removal of the methylation. But as you can see, in cases, it involves the enzyme 1011 translocation belonging to the 1011 translocation family. Now, while discussing maintenance methylation and de novo methylation, I said that there are two kinds by which the methylation can be removed. One is the process of passive dilution that I explained there, that if the daughters are not methylated and the process goes on, then automatically the methylation gets diluted. But there is also another form of demethylation known as oxidative demethylation done by this group of family, the 1011 translocation family, which converts a 5-methyl cytosine first into a 5-hydroxymethyl cytosine. And the process can further continue through formation of 5-formyl cytosine to 5-carboxycytosine, which is then excised from the DNA by DNA glycosylase or methyl CpG binding domain protein 4. In humans, 3 TET family enzymes have been observed, and they use molecular oxygen together with alpha ketoglutarate and ferrous iron to oxidize 5-methyl cytosine. So this is the process of chemical process of demethylation of DNA. And this is just a schematic table to show how the different methylation demethylation occurs. If I look into this table, this is a I'm to say this schematic chart. This is the mother DNA. During DNA replication, we are getting a daughter. The daughter is hemimethylated. If no further methylation is occurring in the daughter, then that is passive demethylation. So the methylations are diluted. Now let us see. If the daughter is methylated, then it is done by maintenance methylation. So DNT1. Or it may happen that the two strands are demethylated now. De novo methylation can add methyl groups to both the strands. Okay. And to remove methylation from both the strands, the enzyme TET, just now I showed, the active demethylation is occurring, which will remove methylation from both the strands. So this is a picture that is shuttling between passive methylation and active methylation, and shuttling between maintenance methylation and de novo methylation. So there is a shuttle between maintenance methylation and de novo methylation, and the shuttle between active demethylation and passive demethylation. Now coming to a few more pictures. If you look into these four, there are four small pictures shown here. A is the example of maintenance methylation. B is the example of de novo methylation. That is, if you look into the parent and the daughter, you will have an idea. The parent is hemimethylated, and now you can see, I mean, so the parental pair is hemimethylated, and now you can see both of them methylated just after replication. It is hemimethylated, and after some time, both of them are methylated. So maintenance methylation. Here you can see the initial picture shows that the C are not methylated, and now both sides the C's are methylated. So this is de novo methylation. Then we have a case of imprinting, where there is a complex of enzyme DNMT3A3L. Interestingly, it has been seen the 3L does not have any methylase activity. Yet it has been seen it helps 3A for de novo methylation. So you see this one is not methylated, but this complex now can together methylate the cytosine residues. And the last one is where RNA is being used to induce de novo methylation. In this picture, you can see the RNA binds with the DNA, and the RNA which has been bound with the DNA, that DNA is now being methylated for all its cytosine residues. So the DNA-RNA hybrid is here also indicates that the methylase methylates all the cytosine residues. So this is an example. This is found usually in plants. So these are the various examples of DNA methylation, and these are the various states in which it have various states which we can see, and the group of proteins that are involved in bringing about the various states of the chromatin. So you can see that in the initial stage we have the methyl cytosine binding protein complexed with the methylase DNTM1 or DNTM3L. So it links the maintenance methylation with imprinting activities. So these are protein complexes. I mean to say, previously I showed you the enzymes causing methylations, but at times the enzymes become complexed with another group of proteins to together bring about certain functions. In this case here, the methylation, maintenance methylation is being linked with imprinting activities. So secondly, you can see here histone deacetylase and methylation. So it is linking histone deacetylation with cytosine methylation. That is strong compaction of the genome. Here again, histone methylase and cytosine methylation. So histone methylase and DNA methylation together is further also seen to assume to compact the genome. So you can see in all these three cases, the genes are replaced. Finally, histone acetylation, that is acetyl groups are being added to the histone molecules, lysine residues of the histone molecules, tails, and we have cytosine demethylation. So histone acetylation plus cytosine demethylation is bringing about an open chromatin and genes activation. So while talking about histone, acetylation also had said that the methylation and the acetylation works together. It is not that the acetylation works single-handedly apart from the methylation. So they come as a combo pack. So as a result of the combination of these various enzymes, we get a various states of the chromatin structure. And this is the case of imprinting that I had started with. You see, this is the male pronucleus and the female pronucleus. This is the zygote, okay? So it's the male pronucleus and the female pronucleus. And you can see sperm demethylase. So this is not, I shouldn't have said zygote, this is a fertilized egg. And the sperm demethylase, as a result of which the sperm demethylase actively removes the methyl groups from the DNA that has been provided by the father. But in case of the female pronucleus, you can see that in the case of the female pronucleus, no demethylation activity is taking place. And now you can see the male and the female pronucleus is fused to form the zygote. In case here, as I said, that the female DNA had its methylations and the male, in case of the male, the methylations were all removed. So now we imagine two strands in which in one strand, the DNA cytosines are not methylated, and in the other strand, the cytosines are methylated. And this DNA constantly, the two strands now act as template and constantly replicates. During the initial replication and the division of the zygote, there is no methylase enzyme. So all the methylations that were initially observed in the DNA that came from the mother, we see passive dilution occurring there. As a result of the passive dilution process, the methylation is being gradually lost. So the imprints of the mother is being lost. And when the zygote reaches the blastocyst stage, as I again and again said, and the cells attain the property of pluripotency, we see that the methylase enzymes are now again bringing about active methylation of the DNA of both the, it's active methylation of the cytosine residues of the DNA molecules. So this is how the original imprints that were in the sperm and the egg are erased, and the fresh imprints are brought in. The fresh imprints to some extent do resemble the original imprints, and at times there are certain new imprints which were not found in the original mother and the father DNA. And so this is the part where I end here, where I have related DNA methylation, and DNA demethylation with gene activity and with the epigenetic imprinting of the embryo.